Welcome back to the New Orleans TV, television, internet work system. We're doing a series for those who are not familiar of PSAs, and we're almost down to the end. I just got to check my number here. Right, this is number five, and these are one of the ones we've had to excuse that delay. Uh, One of the ones that we've had to do after we completed the series because of a technological problem, which we've been able to clear up. Uh, this one, first of all, NOTVIN, a fledgling news station, internet station, is broadcasting simultaneously as we speak live through Facebook Live under my tutelage, Bob Bockelman, Boeckelman. If you can read that little fine print at the bottom on the right, on the left, excuse me. And also on YouTube in my channel, R space REVUE. Okay. So either way, you can catch us on either platform, whichever is your pleasure, whichever you like. We would love you to go ahead and subscribe to YouTube because one, you'll receive approximately half an hour before we go live, whereas Facebook's only 5 minutes, I believe, at maximum before you go live. Facebook also only keeps the show for 1 or 2 days at the most, and therefore 24 hours. Therefore, you might not be able to see it if you miss it and want to catch it through the timeline. So that's why YouTube is the better, especially if you don't watch us live. If you watch us live, then go to your choice, of course. As we mentioned, let's talk about the brand. The brand is located in your upper right column, a little white postage stamp. Notice it's a black and white ant with a red star. When we started in 2000, 15 years, the original program, the flagship, the mothership program was called Restaurant Review. So I came up with the cute idea of an ant with a red star. Why? Just and again, I don't know if this is a proper grammar term, but I use analogy, and that's probably wrong. But to use the symbol to identify the word, or as close as possible. So red star ant correlates to hopefully restaurant. So Restaurant Review. I don't know how many years after we started, I got creative and asked if we could expand the programming to additional shows using my time slots, which we did. And accordingly, we decided, well, how are we going to differentiate one from another? The Restaurant Review ant carried a beautiful silver covered chafing dish, whatever they call it, which was when you serve beautiful pot roast or baked Alaska. For those who know what New Orleans and Antoine's restaurant, I'm giving it a plug there. But we needed to change. So we came up with the idea of changing the object that the ant handled or held. So to give a clue to the title, the meaning to the title of the show. So whatever they're holding, they move to different subject and continue because we're still creating new shows. So that's how that brand came about. Now, we have about 8 or 9, I didn't count them, under that brand with different titles, especially since we've added so many since we developing the new network. Originally, as I mentioned, we came on in 2000 through 2015 on a local New Orleans, from which we're still emanating, not the studio, but from New Orleans, Louisiana. And the cable network, of course, was limited to New Orleans. So we had 15 great years of certainly doing the restaurant show and X number of doing the other shows, whereby we brought on local chefs for the restaurant and their restaurants and guests from the local area that did other talent. Okay. After I left them, I took a hiatus again, went to an internet network whereby we relaunched those programs and also added a couple of new ones at that time. And the advantage here on the internet, of course, is that our audience is tremendous with regard to the capabilities all the way around the world. And also our guest list is of that same magnitude. So instead of being limited to a small urban town in the United States, we now can bring guests on from around the globe, and also audience that want to see those particular guests or just our general programs. Okay, so that's the advantage of it. I've given you my bio starting back then. Well, what about today's show? Hey, I don't see, usually if you've seen any of the other PSAs, you see an enlarging version of the ant with the appropriate object being held, but you've also seen a very colorful background. I decided to add one more element of identification for these shows on this network, and that is to have our artists do a popping color for each one. And we've gotten some good comments about some, so they almost day glow some of the colors with regard to if the electricity went off, you'd still see the background color. But it really makes the ant and what the ant is holding show. But, and since we have it on our background, the prop or the current logo for the show, usually I'm hiding a portion because the ant is so large for the present. However, if you notice, there's no ant to be found in the main part of the screen. Instead, you got some colorful letters over to my right shoulder or yours on your left, KYNP, done almost in children's blocks, kind of the ABCs of this particular show. And each one has a bright color. So it's not that it's a children's program, even though subject matter could often be relevant to your children or children you know. Let's take a look, as we always try and do, of just a close-up of the logo so we'll see the whole thing. There you go. So we've got a plain gray background, as you noticed, but we have those colorful block letters, purple K representing no, the blue for your, the N for none, and the P for profit. So this program, when it was first designed, was to get the audience, and still has that mission, to know, not whenever we say not know, but to understand or to learn about nonprofits. Okay. Now, our primary focus, just as we did in all of our others, is to take the independent, the mom and pop shop, not necessarily the international or nationally known nonprofits. Most of those people, especially in disasters, are fortunate to receive the services and know all about it, the recruiting or the fundraising they do to help the constituents that would be needing their service. However, we will put them on for a special event if they have something they're fundraising for. But our primary emphasis then, and was starting in New Orleans and through the internet, early internet, was strictly New Orleans nonprofits, because there's in any urban city, there's a proliferation, a number of these organizations that provide services for their communities and beyond their existing community, which very few people know unless they have a direct resource or link to that nonprofit from a family member or a friend who knows specifically about it. So we thought we would introduce the concept to the audience so that they would learn what's available in their area should they need it. Okay, and we're doing this there, and we will do a nonprofit anywhere around the globe if you like, because some of these services will do one of two things. One, of course, they'll help the community from which the guest is broadcasting or is involved, but also it will give some great ideas for the USA and hopefully other countries. Say, hey, you know, we could certainly use something like that. Let's see if we can promote the origination or development of such a program to help our community or our country or our city. All right. So we're hoping it does two things. One, like I say, just exposes it to the public, and two, creates ideas for areas that might also use one of these organizations, if not directly affiliation or creating their own, but serving similar purposes. Okay. All right. Now let's go. Let's look at this one whereby Bob's oh, that's Bob's big. That's the wrong one. Bob's little. There we go. And the logo's big. We always like to do that. All right. So we've gone over the bio. We've gone over the format. No, we're going to the format. It's time for the format of the show. Remember, Facebook and YouTube live simultaneously under those nomenclature that I gave you. The format of most of the shows are pretty much, or that 90% are identical in that we bring a guest on live representing their organization, or in other shows, their service or their talent, um, to discuss and introduce themselves and their organizations to the audience. That's pretty simple. That's strictly a one-on-one interview. What we do to supplement, to give it a little more pop than just 2 or 3 people talking on air live with pictures, is to supplement them with pictures of their organization, mainly any kind of materials they want to show. We're always going to be probably streamlining at the bottom, rotating their URLs. In other words, what I mean there by their website or their Facebook, whatever they have, or social media presence. So that way you can contact them directly by just catching the streaming the title at the bottom of their contact information. We don't have it here. We only do it for when we actually do a live program with a guest. Okay, as we said, we will supplement so any of their materials that involves photographs of structures, but most importantly, the services they're ordering, that they're providing, to either by events or by just day-to-day operations. So that way you'll get a better feel, a larger understanding in addition to the discussion. After we finish the pictures, then we just go back to final discussion. We always have allowed callers on this program. The other shoes, it's been very easy. We had separate phone line. Here we haven't established that yet. So you can't physically call on a phone to the line that we will soon establish. Because we don't have that, and also more importantly today, most people, unless they're of my or anywhere near my longevity, want to use the telephone strictly as a text instrument. The folk of today rather type than talk, okay? And that's their prerogative, and they do it extremely well, and it's very, very prevalent. So first thing happens is if you're familiar with either one of those or probably most social platforms, you're able to make comments, especially when there's a live program or maybe even after the live program when they reposting or posting their still text photos. So same thing here, both YouTube channel or review and Facebook Live Bob Bockelman. If you're watching one of those platforms and you wish to make a comment, that's all you do is type it on your phone or your laptop, PC, tablet, and it'll come. All those comments will come. Now, as long as we're early now and don't have tremendous volume of comments, we try and also we can bring those comments online one at a time, especially ones that might be relevant with regard to a question to the organization or the person guest, because since we're not allowed to have phone calls. Now, indirectly, we can have phone calls if this is not too complicated for you, meaning you can use our system. So almost like basically, video conferencing or video talk chat. If you wish to do so, you send us a text and we will send you a link. When you click on that link, that lets you come into our studio, not immediately, but in a holding pattern till we put you on. So if you have a call, and then there's 2 options. If you don't mind being seen, your lovely visage to the world, then you just go right ahead and we'll link you right away as is. But if you prefer to be, as a lot of people are a little camera shy or for whatever reason, don't want your image to appear, you have to turn your camera off on your phone or your laptop so that we'll only pick up the audio. Then it'll sound just like a telephone call. Not that we're trying to resemble that, but it gives you that opportunity to speak directly to one of us, myself and the guest, and ask those questions, as opposed to indirectly with the chat comment. So that's a nice little feature, I think. Anyway, okay, we gotta go because we try and keep these to 10 minutes. Let's see. My bad eyes, as from some of you know. Okay, format. All right. Let me go back to me if you don't mind. Seeing the big image. All right. Ooh, sorry about that. A little scratch. A little scratch never hurt anybody, right? Anyway, um, bad. Bob is so bad. As a few people that know me will attest. My next part is to tell you schedule. Okay. First of all, the network is targeted for the first day of February 2020. Okay, which is almost moments away, days away from beginning. Our first show, actually, after that target date, will be on February the 4th. And that will be, and let me tell you that we're going to right now program most of our shows in the evening, okay, until we get too much volume. And or we might add some to the day as well. We'd love to get some of the talk shows, et cetera, to the day once we master this calling. But the idea is that's when most people are home if they have any kind of work position. Now you say, "Well, I live in India." Well, as you know, we are live, so you will be going to India. You just need to know the time frames if you want to see that particular show, which we will, as I meant to say, is that right now you can see it any time on YouTube. It stays there, so if you miss the live broadcast, fine. But we're also going to try and do some replays, just like TV does, during the week or 2 weeks following the initial broadcast. And that way you'll be able to see those again on a different, and we'll rotate them between day and night. That's the key. So you can find it perpetually on YouTube. You may be able to see it on both those channels, obviously live, and then within a short period, a week or two, on a replay. But we'll also, so what we do is we always publish a little chart indicating the time differentials. Like the first program we're talking about is Tuesday night. I'll get it, February the 4th. And that's our realty show for all those people interested in seeing these beautiful homes that are available, et cetera, and hearing about things in their neighborhood. We've divided our territory, our state, up into 4 categories, and a particular realtor representing each territory will be on once a week. First one's a lovely lady, and she's representing the city or capital of our state, Baton Rouge. Now, that is scheduled for Tuesday night, February 4th, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock on New York, add 10 and a half hours to India, 7 hours approximately to Europe, 12 and something to Australia, I mate, and New Zealand, terrible accents. Okay, but again, we'll post these things, and we'll post when we start fixing a schedule, because we would want these shows to be repeat, not a one-time wonder. So we're going to be fixing them on a day and time and publish that schedule through our social media and also periodically on before we start a show. So that way you'll know, hey, I want to see that one. And again, remember the other shows, the R review shows with the end, you'll be easy to identify by color once you learn what the color represents in addition to the object of handling. All right. I think that's about it. Let's see. Yes. We have had a sneak preview. We did a live show last Monday, the last Monday of January, involving a local artist in New Orleans. If you want to see that, that's available on YouTube. We'll probably replay it again 1 or 2 more times. We also, on Friday, meaning mañana, the last day, weekday of the month, we're attempting in the last day of at least the last Friday of the month, we'll be attempting to do a very unique antique, not auction, but sale. The lady calls it a picking sale out of the metropolitan city of Bogalusa, Louisiana, which we'll leave that to your imagination. We're hoping it works. It should be fun, and we'll be doing several of those as she liquidates this vast warehouse of antiques from England, Scotland, and somewhere else in Europe that have been sitting idle for 45 years. How you like that, kids? So you know you're getting good stuff, and she's doing it at bargain prices, which you may be able to contract a sale on the TV. So we'll see how that goes. So, and that's under the nomenclature Rarity Reviews, Rarity, where we do antiques and auctions of antiques, etc. But that's again a sneak preview for testing some really remote situations. All right, that's just about it. I probably exceeded my time. Oh, one last thing I have to solicit. I'm a solicitor without the legal ramifications. One that you, as I did earlier, please subscribe to the YouTube channel R Space R Review, so we at least don't feel too hurt. Even if you don't want to watch us, just give us those numbers. Everybody loves those numbers. Tell all your friends, family, by strangers, even by word of mouth. Or if you're reluctant to talk, as today's world, you prefer to use those nimble fingers that I don't have, please send them text. If you need, I have links, which I send to anyone. So you have contact me, or I'll send you the link and you can distribute it to the mass thousands that I would love for them to reach. Okay? That's all we ask you to do. I'm sorry, I'm smacking this today. Sorry about that. Okay, well, take care. We've got one more to do. We're still waiting for that technology. Then you'll have your whole series of 13. Who knows? One day you might, it's 14, including the longest one, which is the first one about our station and the whole idea of it. But each individual program has between 10 and 20 minutes, trying to stay with the 10-minute time limit. So just to see the whole spread of the color show of the logos is very, very entertaining. Okay, until such time that we meet again, I love to say, stay tuned soon. Your host and founder, Bob Backelman, however you pronounce it. Thank you again. Bye. Bye.